This is Brighton TV and this is the match preview for Brighton vs Arsenal, and it's the final game of the season. And in our last game, fans were back at the Amex, where we ended up having a massive comeback against City from being 2-0 down to winning 3-2. And it was a very bad start, conceding in the second minute, where City, they started going in a transition counter-attack. We couldn't deal with it, thrusting it in, and Gundogan got a free header, scoring to make it 1-0. But we were constantly at it throughout the rest of the game. The fans were giving the players a real push. And in the 10th minute, City's right back Cancelo ended up getting sent off after making a last man challenge on Welbeck and failing to win the ball. That was massive. It was a huge turning point in the game. It made it so we were in control of the game. And despite City being 1-0 up, they had to defend a lot more. They allowed us to go have the ball. And when you have the fans on your side who are constantly having an electric atmosphere, it made it so much easier for us to go and create chances, and our players seemed to be a lot more up for it. And a couple minutes after winning the red card, Welbeck ended up getting injured, so he got subbed off for Trossard, and that meant that we had no strikers on the pitch. We had a lot of the ball and we were attacking a lot, but the biggest problems of our attacks is we'd end up going wide. We'd beat the City fullbacks, but because there wasn't a striker, we didn't have the players knowing where to run in the box. It made it so then when we did cross it, it was a lot harder to pick out a target, so City could defend a lot easier. And very early on into the second half, City was scoring another goal, and it was another goal in transition where losing the ball in the midfield, and then Foden picked it up from the halfway line. He dribbled it into our box, having a great shot into our goal, and that made it 2-0. And I was thinking, we're going to get battered here. We had a very bright start to the second half, but to go and concede 3 or 4 minutes into it, it made it seem like our City are now going to go and make it possibly 3 or 4. And 2 minutes after the City goal, the atmosphere completely changed because Trossard scored, getting the ball outside the box. He ran out the City defence, he dummied a couple of their players and made it so then their players ended up going on the floor. He shot, it went in. And I was thinking when that happened, I thought Trossard taking too long on it. And we've seen it a couple times this season where Trossard would have the ball and he wouldn't shoot in time, and that made it so the defenders could block it. But he was able to have enough skill to take away from the City defenders to score, and the atmosphere was electric after that. It pushed the players on so much, and we were now attacking a lot better. We were getting the players to run into the box, and it was a lot harder for City to go and defend. Because City had 10 men, it made it so then one of our centre-backs could try and go onto the end of a cross, and that ended up happening for our second goal. Gross whipped it in, and Webster, a brilliant header to go and make it 2-2. And a couple minutes after the Webster's goal, Barnes scored his first goal for the club. He ran into the box. He lost his footing, but he still managed to go and make it 3-2. And the atmosphere only got better after Barnes scored. And it made it so hard for City to deal with. And after we scored, we had a 5-minute spell where City only touched the ball for 12 seconds. And when you look at Pep City, that never happens. And you look, 96% possession in that 5-minute spell after we scored. When I saw the stat, I was thinking, oh, that must have been when we were chasing it, trying to get an equaliser. It wasn't. It was after we scored. We had complete control of the ball. We didn't allow City to get back into the game after going ahead. And that's what the fans mean. The fans are the reason we were able to come back into the game. If the fans weren't there, I don't think we'd be able to go and win that game. We probably would have lost it. And Arsenal, in their last game, they beating Palace 3-1, and they scored 2 90th minute goals. And you look at their form recently, they've won 4 in a row. It's going to be very hard against this Arsenal team. And when we played Arsenal last time in the season, we went and lost 1-0, and that was where we had a lot of fixture congestion. We had 3 games in 6 days, and Potter decided to field a much weaker team against Arsenal. Only 1-0, but now it's going to be a completely different story since we're not going to play a weak team. You look at some of Arsenal's key players this season. Saka, he's been so good for them. He can play either side on wing back, and he can play either side on wing. And he's been so important in lifting Arsenal and taking them to go and have a fight in Europe, potentially getting a European spot. So we need to be very careful of him. And you look at some of the other players. Smith Rowe, he plays in the 10 role, and Arsenal are very bad before he coming into the side. He's came in and he's given a lot of creativity to the Arsenal side. So we need to make sure we limit the amount of space that he has, and he is able to go and drift either left or right hand side. So we need to make sure we go and pick up him and make sure he doesn't have that much space. And Tierney as well, Arsenal's left back. He's got great attacking capabilities, so we need to be careful of him. And I was thinking of who I would say is our player of the season. And there's a lot of good players who's played for us this season. March would probably be my player of the season if he didn't get injured. He was brilliant before his injury. But you look at some of the other players. Sanchez, where you look at in goal, Ryan was struggling a lot. Sanchez comes in. The defenders seem to be a lot more confident. We seem to be a lot better at defending set pieces. And overall, his distribution, his shot stopping is brilliant. He was huge in our season. You look at Dunk, Webster, White, all three of them have been brilliant defenders. Some of the reasons why we've conceded one of the fewest amount of shots in the league. And you look at Bissouma as well. He's gone and broken up midfield so much. It's really hard to decide who the player of the season would be. But in my opinion, it is Bissouma. How he's played this season, where he's gone and scored a couple goals. He's been able to go link up with the attack, and his ability to go and break up play and then instantly give it to another player to go and get them to push up forward. He's been brilliant. Hopefully he goes and performs versus Arsenal. And my lineup, I think it should be a 3-4-3. And in goal, it should be Sanchez with a back three of Webster, Dunk and White. And I was really debating who should be the back three for this game. Dunk's back from suspension and I think he's the captain. He has to go and start. But you look at the other three, Webster, White and Byrne. All three of them were brilliant versus City. And I was just thinking it's going to be hard to decide who will be the two centre-backs aside Dunk. But I think it has to be White and Webster, and that's because Barnes more of a rotation player. And in the final games of the season, you're typically thinking of next season what the tactics will be. And we saw it last season from Potter, where he ended up making the back three again. And that's what we played versus Burnley. And I think he's going to go and continue what he'll think will be the tactics for next season. And I think Barnes more of a rotation player in that, so that's why it will be Webster and White alongside Dunk. And the wing-backs for this game, I think will be Moda and Gross. And Moda, he was brilliant versus City. He was constantly being one-on-one with the City right-back, and he would beat him almost every time. And he'd be able to go, get the cross in, and it would be very dangerous. So that's why I think he has to play there. Right wing-back, I think will be Gross, because currently Veltman is still injured. The midfield too, I think it should be Bissouma and Alzate. And Bissouma and Alzate are great together. Bissouma's ability to go win the ball back and Alzate's ability to go keep the ball. His accuracy and passing is so good. He's able to go and keep the ball under high pressure situations. That's why I think Alzate should partner Bissouma. And the front three, it should be Trossard, Alexis and Zakiri. And Trossard, you can't drop him after his appearance versus City. He was brilliant, man of the match, so that's why he should start. And Alexis, he was playing the 10 role, playing left wing and playing right wing at times. And he was playing it well. His ability to pick out killer passes is great. So that's why I think he should start. And up front, it should be Zakiri. And when you look at how Arsenal concede a lot of their goals, they make mistakes at the back due to other teams going and pressing them. And Zakiri gives that energy. He's able to press high and his work rate is very good. So that's why I think he will go and try and make Arsenal defenders make mistakes. And my score predictions for this game, I think will be 2-2. And I think Saka and Pepe will score for Arsenal. And I think White and Trossard will score for us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Brighton TV and follow us on Instagram.